Okay, let's get right into it. What we're talking about today isn't just health insurance, it's a fundamental business decision. It's a choice between two totally different operating models that's going to define how your company handles its costs, its talent, and its risk for the next decade. This is the comparison every single leader needs to understand, right now.
This quote, it really sets the stage perfectly for this whole conversation. It's this idea that when things get overwhelmingly complicated, you can't just manage your way out of the mess. You have to take a step back and completely redesign the system itself. And trust me, that's exactly what's happening in the world of employee benefits.
So, to really get a handle on the choice that's in front of us today, we first have to look back, because this isn't some brand new problem. Nope, it's a recurring pattern we've seen again and again throughout business history. It's the story of what happens when complexity just completely outpaces control.
Think about it. Back in the Industrial Revolution, the idea was simple. Bigger is always better, right? More workers, more machines, more everything. But factory owners learned a really tough lesson. As their operations got bigger, so did the chaos. Bottlenecks were everywhere. Costs were spiraling out of control, and that feeling of control they thought they had, it was just slipping through their fingers. Scale, by itself, was definitely not the answer.
Okay, now let's fast forward a bit. The tech industry faced the exact same challenge. For years, the mighty centralized mainframe computer was king. But as technology started moving faster and faster, that one single point of control, well, it became a single point of failure. It was slow, it was rigid, and it was actively holding back innovation. The system had just become too complex for its own good.
So in both of these huge moments in history, this crisis of complexity forced a radical breakthrough. A totally new way of thinking about structure and control had to emerge. You see, Henry Ford's real genius wasn't just building a bigger factory, it was redesigning the work itself. The assembly line took this incredibly complex process, building a car, and broke it down into simple, modular, and repeatable steps. Control wasn't lost, it was just embedded into a much smarter design. And we see the same pattern in the tech world. The fix for the mainframe problem wasn't a bigger, better mainframe. It was the exact opposite, distributed systems. Things like cloud computing and modular software won the day because they were flexible, they were scalable, and they could adapt to change way faster than those old, rigid systems ever could. So here's the key takeaway from all that. It was this fundamental shift in thinking. We moved from a centralized, monolithic model, one giant factory, one giant computer, to a distributed, modular one. A system of interconnected, specialized parts that are just far more resilient and way more efficient. Remember this visual, it is the key to everything that comes next. Which, of course, brings us to today. Because that very same battle between centralized complexity and modular design is playing out right now, inside every single company. And it's all centered on one of your biggest expenses, employee benefits. Now you're probably asking yourself, what on earth do old factories and mainframe computers have to do with my company's health plan? And the answer is, well, it's everything. Your health plan isn't just a line item on a budget, it's an operating system for your employees' well-being, and right now, it is facing a massive crisis of complexity.
So let's define the old model. A traditional group health plan is that classic centralized system. The employer takes on all the risk, they make all the decisions, and they offer a one-size-fits-all solution to a really diverse workforce. Sound familiar? It's the factory. It's the mainframe.
And just like those old systems, the outcomes are pretty predictable, aren't they? Yeah, sure, it's a familiar structure. We all know it. But it also comes with wildly volatile costs year after year, very little choice for your actual employees, and a totally crushing administrative burden for your HR team. The system is just groaning under its own weight.
But, just like in our history lesson, a new, modular approach has emerged. A system that's designed not for the company of the past, but for the workforce of today and tomorrow.
This new model is called an ICHRA, and here's how it works. Instead of buying one big, centralized plan for everyone, the employer provides a defined, tax-free allowance to each employee. Then, the employee uses that money to go out and choose their own individual plan from the open market. So the company controls the budget, but the employee controls the choice.
And when you put the two side by side, the comparison is just stark. It's a night and day difference. The traditional model, it gives you cost volatility and a huge administrative headache. The ICHRA model, on the other hand, delivers budget certainty. You set the contribution, and that's it. It empowers employees with a real choice, and, when it's done right, it offers a much more scalable way to handle compliance.
So how do you, as a leader, actually make this choice?
It's not about comparing plan features and deductibles, it's about comparing philosophies. This requires a true CEO-level decision framework. So here's how you should think about it. Ask yourself, are you building a system based on centralized control or on distributed choice? Are you willing to accept basically unlimited risk every year, or do you want a defined, predictable spend? Do you believe in a uniform one-size-fits-all benefit, or in personalized coverage that actually meets your employees where they are? And finally, are you still managing compliance manually, or are you using automated modern governance?
And this, right here, is the single most important takeaway. Choosing ICHRA isn't just tweaking your health plan. It's fundamentally changing your company's operating model for benefits. You're shifting from an outdated industrial-era approach to a modern, flexible, and distributed system.
Okay, this brings us to the final and maybe the most important part of this whole decision. How should we really think about risk in this new environment? Well, here's the contrarian view. Most leaders think the traditional plan is the safe choice, simply because it's familiar. But the truth is, in today's world of skyrocketing premiums, remote workforces, and complex regulations, that familiar, static system is actually the most dangerous path. Clinging to the past has become the highest risk strategy of all. So, what can you do about it right now? Here are 4 concrete action steps you can take. First, go back and really look at your cost volatility over the last 3 renewals. The numbers will tell you a story. Second, model what a defined contribution ICHR strategy would actually look like for your budget. Third, identify which of your employees are being underserved by your current one-size-fits-all plan. And finally, take a hard look at your current administrator. How much of their process relies on manual work versus modern automation?
Ultimately, it all comes down to this single, powerful question. Look at your current system. The costs, the complexity, the employee experience. Is it a relic of a past era? Or is it a system that's truly designed to carry your organization and your people into the future? The choice is yours.